Hi everyone, and welcome to Kiana Walcott's Adaptivities. What is Adaptivities, you might ask? Okay, well let me explain it to you. It's a combination of two words, adapt plus activities, which equals Adaptivities. Think of it as a new way to play, okay? So my name is Mark Bradley, and I'm going to be your host. And what we're doing is we're having interviews with families, and they're explaining to us what their journey and what their story has been. So first of all, I want to say hello to each of you.
Hello.
Hello.
Would you take a moment to introduce yourselves, please?
Sure. I'm Andrea Stern.
I'm Scott Delos.
It's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for welcoming us into your home. We're glad to be here. You've invited us. We're really looking forward to hearing about your story, okay? So tell us a little bit about your daughter.
Okay. She's 18 years old right now. She is on the autism spectrum, and it was about roughly a little bit before age 2 that we started to notice that there were some issues.
Oh, okay. Those issues, how and what did that look like?
She was in a baby group, so it was like a bunch of moms and other kids, and we started to see that she was not progressing as much as the other children in terms of social interaction and her verbal development.
She do atypical behaviors as well, hand flapping, spinning in circles and things like that too.
Okay. Okay. When you began to notice these differences, what was your reaction and what were your next steps?
We were pretty horrified.
Yeah.
We went, I think our first step was to go to a regular pediatrician who actually didn't really see issues, but we pushed it and went to see a developmental pediatrician who said there was more to the story than what the pediatrician was showing. So
Sure.
Then we started to kind of dive into how to handle it and kind of what the next steps were.
Okay. And in that progression, well, tell me, what is a typical day, a day in the life for you like, as a matter of fact?
Like right now or back?
Back then.
Wow, it's hard to kind of remember. We were just noticing, like Scott said, some atypical behaviors. We had enrolled her in a preschool program, and they were starting to notice.
Yeah, it was hard finding a preschool program for her because she required more attention than a typical child, and so we kind of had a few false starts. So where they said you need to maybe find a different place for her, and so it's hard at first finding a place to put her in. So she spent a lot of time at home at the beginning before we started finding services for special needs children.
Oh, okay. And what did that look like as it progressed over time in terms of finding services and schools and so forth?
It was definitely kind of a journey. You're kind of desperate to do anything that can help your child out, and so it's a lot of kind of asking around and connecting with other parents who are in the same boat and trying to find out about what therapies are out there, and you kind of hear a lot of different opinions, and it's kind of, you have to kind of go through and figure out what is best for your child, and it's hard to really know, especially when they're that young and you've no experience with autism or anything, so it's kind of a.
She was our first child, and neither one of us had had an autistic person in our family, so it was from ground zero.
Sort of an awakening,
so
to speak. In terms of fishing through the different, individuals trying to help you out and so forth, how do you sift through what's a valid and what's...
That is a great question, because it is not easy, and you hear a lot of other parents saying, this is the way to go, don't do this therapy, you've got to do that therapy, and you kind of don't really know, and I think we kind of just took whatever people told us is that it's do or die. You've got to do this therapy, or your kid's never going to make it. And what we learned was there really isn't one therapy for each kid.
Okay.
You really kind of have to see what's out there and what the different options are, because what works for one kid does not work for the next kid, and what works for your kid one year might not work the next year. It's a constant process of you know,
Yeah.
seeing what your kid needs.
Yeah. So you're actually studying your child and seeing what meets their needs. It's customized kind of a thing.
It's very customized.
Yeah.
Very customized. I mean, you know, you wanna go to whatever therapy somebody's telling you is the way to go, but in the end, it doesn't always work for your kid.
Okay.
Something else might be better.
What about the impact on yourselves? And you're taking time to invest your time and your love. What does that feel like? What's it like?
It's very hard, very, very challenging.
You have to be very patient, we found.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
Were you very patient to begin with? Naturally patient
No.
people?
No.
Or?
No, we're still not patient people.
Yeah, but you know, it's what it takes, especially as child needs. It would be like a child with a physical handicap. You'd have to make certain accommodations. It's the same thing with an autistic child. You just have to. Once you do, one of the interesting things is there's this really nice community of other people who have autistic children. You really kind of form bonds with this within this community. I felt a tremendous amount of support from it. I'm sure you have too.
Okay. When you began to network with others, what were any stories, a short story you might have to tell, a success that you enjoyed?
I can't think of it off the top of my head.
I'm trying to think. The kinds of things that Leah likes is you'd be surprised. You know, she's very into artwork, so she's made friends through that. She loves to swim. She loves water. She loves that stimulation. So the things, it's really been trial and error. Some things haven't worked out as well. Others have worked really well. So that's mostly just, I guess, keeping an open mind. I would say is the best thing.
Wow. Okay. So it's really been a learning experience for you, is what it sounds like. Yeah. Okay. So now we're moving forward, and she's about 18 years old, you're saying. Mm-hmm. Okay. Are there differences or things that you're seeing that you want to share with the audience, and what that journey has been like?
I think she's sort of come around. The teenage years were really rough. Just like you have, you know, we have a typical teenager, and you know, it manifests itself in different ways. But you know, I would say between age 13 and 17 were really rough, and I've, knock on wood, I think she's kind of come around and matured quite a bit. I mean, you know, she's got issues that she's always going to have, and you know, she's still evolving, and things change. That's just kind of the nature of the condition, but you know, I definitely feel like we're moving forward.
So I know that there is a National Autism Month. I was wondering if there were any thoughts that you have with regard to National Autism Awareness, and what you might say about that.
You know, I guess in terms of people who don't really understand autism, you know, it would be nice if people would have a better awareness. I mean, even I think it's gotten better over the years from our experiences, but you know, because Leah doesn't have any kind of appearance, you know, when somebody sees her, they don't necessarily, just by looking at her, know that there's an issue. But then, so it's sort of like if we're out in public and she has a behavior that's strange, you know, everyone kind of does like a double take, because they don't really like, you know, it's one thing if you see a child who's physically or appearance-wise, but I mean, so with Leah, you know, it's like, I think people kind of don't really realize it, and then when she does do something, some people are a little bit impatient about it, because they don't really, they might interpret it as like she's poorly behaved. Like it takes like a little bit of a processing for them to realize that, there's something wrong.
So move me forward. Let's say that, you know, we're in the grocery store or something like that, and you alluded to perhaps I don't notice anything about her physically, but perhaps there might be a behavior or something she might exhibit. Are there tips that you can give me to help move me forward, you know?
Just understand that, you know, I guess don't judge. I mean, understand that, you know, she's not just a badly behaved kid. There's something wrong, and you really truly have no idea what she's going through, what we're going through. And I guess the other thing I would say is these kids, seem like they don't know what's going on, but they do, and so they might pick up on it if you're giving them a look,
And that
or
would be cool. No.
right,
Yeah.
or they despite appearing to kind of be out of it, they understand and hear everything. So
Mhm.
anyone in the public who's not treating them well or talking about them in front of them, they know most of the time exactly what's happening, even though you can't tell.
Yeah, okay. Let's talk just a little bit about resources and services.
Sure.
You talked about how it's important to have customized services and how you had gotten tips and so forth from other individuals, but you really got to find out what works for you.
Right.
What things that have you found in terms of services or resources that you'd recommend to other parents of special needs children?
Well, I would say for one, get yourself an excellent home program person like Kiana.
Right.
She has been
okay.
with Leah since Leah was 2 and is incredible.
Absolutely.
I don't know. We have not really used anybody else. I don't know. I'm sure there's other good people out there, but you've got to get somebody who's willing to evolve with your child. There are certain people I think who are like that we've experienced, not home program people, but just people out in the field that kind of have their set way of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
It does not work because your kid is constantly changing. So you've got to have somebody or a team working with your kid that is able to evolve and kind of roll with the punches and change their program and their whatever they need kind of as the child evolves.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, Kiana is incredible. So,
wow.
but it's so important. And not just your home person, but any other specialist you're dealing with. Obviously, I haven't really talked about school, but you've really got to keep up on what's going on at school, because if you don't, then your kid might not be getting the services
what they need.
You've got to be on top of it.
Yeah.
And I guess most importantly, I think there are a lot of experts out there who think they know your kid better than you do, and it's just not the case. So take everything you hear from these experts with a grain of salt, because I have like second guessed myself before, because I have experts telling me you need to do this and this is how Leah's going to be, and the bottom line is that you know your kid the best. So
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So here are some of the things that I've taken away from our conversation, that you're saying it's very important that first of all, for me as an individual, if I should encounter a family with a child who has special needs, to at least show some empathy, some patience,
Sure,
and and also to be aware of the fact that even though a child may have special needs, they're cognizant of what's going on around it. And so my rolling up the eyes, that doesn't help the situation at all.
No.
For parents who are out there, there's advice that you're going to get from all over the creation, and you got to take that with a grain of salt and realize it's a customized solution for your child. And you've got to study your child to really understand what their needs are. So those are some of the things that I was beginning to take away from our conversation.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Okay, great. Well, I didn't mention, although you did, Kiana Walcott's Adaptivities. And the mission of Adaptivities is basically stated as such: to provide activities to create a community of adaptive resources to increase opportunities for engagement and reciprocal interaction for your loved ones who happen to have special needs. So again, I want to thank Scott and Andrea. Thank you for having us into your home. Thank you for being honest and open and talking with us.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.